be gone. It's not okay. We want to know. Lost in your eyes, Paris night skies, both hypnotized. Find a way, to find your way. Spend the night with you in Paris alone. So unfair, you left me there. Took the 9:35 from Paris alone. In a heartbeat, you were gone. Like ships in the night, love at first sight, holding you tight. Find a way, find a way. Spend the night with you in Paris alone. So unfair, you left me there. Choose the 9:35 from Paris alone. Left with just her aroma from my standstill adventure. Now I'm stuck in a world of regret. And it's 9:35. I'm not happy, but I feel alive. So much I wanted to say, but now it's too late. Find a way, find a way. Spend the night with you in Paris alone. So unfair, you left me there. Took the 9:35 from Paris alone.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live stream Saturday, and just a quick thank you to you guys over on Patreon for requesting Paris Nord for tonight's song that we're going to open with. And I'm just going to mention, I should probably do this at the beginning of every live stream, that the songs that we start the live stream with are requested over on Patreon, but they're also available at my website, wingsofpegasus.com/music, if you want to go straight to the music section, because some people do ask about that, but I probably don't mention it enough on the live streams, but just on the channel in general. So there you go, there's the website if you want to head over there. Anyway, hello to you guys in that live chat room and everybody who was tuning in, part of that early bird crew. I saw you in there about an hour ago, so thank you guys for sticking with the live stream even before we went live. But let me get you guys up on screen in that live chat room, and let's see who's in the house tonight. We have Chris and Jennifer and Celeste and Neil and Alison, Susan and Dennis, Marco, Terry, Sam, Corey, Tammy, Robert, Brian, Howard in there, Charlie, Bev, Bob, Zena, and Melanie as well. Hello to all you guys in that live chat room. That was a little bit slower than normal, so I could keep up with the names, which is great. let's start off the live stream by mentioning that we did recently go past 261,000 subscribers on the channel. So a massive thank you to everybody for subscribing, hitting that notification bell, and checking that box, all that kind of stuff. Again, a huge number, just a crazy number, but we will keep on pushing forward and see where we end up with the subscriber count. But certainly at the moment, it is a number that I never thought that I'd get to, but we'll just keep on riding the wave and see what happens. So, if I click this button now, the crowd should stop cheering, and I think they have, which is great. So, a massive thank you for hitting that thumbs up as well. Let's just seamlessly blend into the fact that we do have likes goals for these live streams, and the likes goal for tonight is set at a whopping 380 likes. I've been saying recently about the likes goals being so big, the numbers, that they are the largest numbers we've ever had on the channel, and we have actually been hitting the targets on Tuesdays as well as Saturdays. So the Saturday crew tonight have a huge number of 380, so we will see if we can hit that target. Fingers crossed we can. If we do, we're going to be having a pick roulette next week. So 380 is the target. As you come through the door, if you could hit a thumbs up, that would be massively appreciated to help get us closer to that goal, but also just to help this live stream to get out there a little bit more and for this channel to grow on the whole. Let's get the likeometer up on screen. We are at 195 already, so thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. 5 more to get to 200. And then it makes the maths a little bit easier for me to work out. But that means it'll be like 185 that we're looking for. And we're almost there, so that'd be 181 that we're looking for. Before the end of the live stream, we usually go for about an hour and 15 minutes for these live streams, so we've still got time on our side. And as always, I'm going to bring the names of my patrons up on screen because they make this all possible in the first place, including all of the videos that I do on the channel, these live streams, the analysis videos, the cover videos that I've done in the past that we play during these live streams, all the riffs of the week. There's so much that we go through on this channel, and we have started to do a few of those riffs of the week at the end of the live streams as well. So we will see if we have time to do one of those at the end as well. But I hope that you guys are having a great weekend so far. It's certainly going to be a busy week coming up for the channel, but just in general, I think, for this month, because I mentioned about the collaboration that I did with Chris Lipe, where we looked at a Led Zeppelin track, Since I've Been Loving You, and I've been keeping you guys up to date with that. The thing about those particular videos is that when they get copyright claimed, I'm just disputing those claims because it's clearly fair use what myself and Chris are doing, referring to the songs and the vocals and Chris giving demonstrations, all that kind of stuff. So those videos won't be out for a while. I know that when we were making the video, Chris said that it's about 10 days, or he thought it was 10 days before the disputes, if they're not reviewed by the owners of the copyright, that they then automatically become public and then it's just allowed to go through. But here in the UK, I'm not sure if it's different, but on the emails that I've got, it's 30 days, which means that, yeah, it might be a bit of a while unless they actually review it, because I'm now just waiting for them to look at the video and just confirm that it's fair use, which it definitely is. So if they don't look at the video, and then I'll have to wait for 30 days, and that'll be for the first video, and then we'll have to wait another 30-day period for the second video. But the thing about disputing copyright claims is, if they for some reason decide that it's not fair use, which would be, you know, totally against the fair use clause of copyright, if they just for some reason did that, you would then get a copyright strike on the channel, even though it's unfounded, and you'd then have to dispute the strike because anybody looking at it from a third party would see that it is exempt from that on fair use grounds. But if they did give a strike, it means that, say for example, I was disputing 3 videos at once and all 3 of those incurred a strike, it means that the channel would then be removed from YouTube, so my channel would be deleted. So this is why it's a bit of an issue disputing copyright claims, even though they should all go through without any problems. It's just that, you know, really low percentage risk that the channel could get deleted overnight if 3 claims at once then aren't, you know, allowed to go through, and the dispute isn't allowed to go through for whatever reason. Whether it could even be a mistake that they click on the wrong button and it's then registered as a strike. So it's something that at the moment I'm only claiming on 2 videos just in case. So when those 2 go through, then I can do another 2 videos for the future. That's just how I'm approaching it at the moment, just for having safety in mind. So anyway, we've got those Crystal Lipe videos that will be coming out in the future on the channel at some point. They are just waiting for the copyright confirmations. We do have as well a huge week coming up next week, because I'm going to be chatting with Steve Stevens on Wednesday night. And I know that I mentioned this ages ago over on Patreon to you guys about me chatting with Steve. And this was sometime last year that me and Steve were talking on Instagram, and you know, he was interested in coming on the channel, and I said that would be great. And we were thinking about maybe doing an In at the Deep End episode or an Under the Spotlight episode, but it was just organising our schedules, because I mean, Steve is a really busy guy, as you can imagine, and I'm pretty busy with everything that I do, having these live streams on set days and analysis videos on other days, and having admin days that I need to catch up with everything. So it's just organising our diaries, but we have finally managed to do that for next Wednesday. So I'll be chatting with Steve, and as I mentioned in that update video last night, that I'm sure we'll be talking about Top Gun, but I would be interested to just dive into his approach to playing, because he's one of those guys that really does break the mold when you're talking about rock and hard rock or classic rock and mainstream bands, you know, such as Billy Idol, who had huge hits, but there was so much in the guitar playing, and I'd love to break down a few things with Steve. So we will be doing that next Wednesday. Obviously, I'll keep you guys in the loop over on Patreon, as always, patreon.com/Wings of Pegasus. If you guys want to get involved over there and just stay in the loop, because I do update everybody about what's going on. So that'll be Wednesday night. So most likely what will happen is, because I'm going to be literally busy, I think it's probably about 9 p.m. my time, which is, I think, 1 p.m. Las Vegas time, because Steve's in Las Vegas. So we'll have to kind of work out what's happening on Wednesday. On the channel, most likely, I won't be releasing a video, an analysis video on Wednesday night, because I will be very busy doing that. But I'll keep you guys in the loop over there on patreon.com/Wings of Pegasus. And yeah, it'd be great to have a chat with Steve on Wednesday. And I'll keep you guys in the loop about when I'm editing that video together and when it'll be released on the channel. But it's cool to get another guest on the channel. And this month we have the collaboration with Moises, the app, as well. So that'll be coming up probably towards the middle of the month, if not the end of the month, considering all the other stuff that I've got going on with Chris and with Steve next week. I'll have to try to find the time for the Moises app video before the end of the month, because Moises want to have that completed before July. So fingers crossed. As I said, it's going to be a busy one this month, but we will keep on pushing forward and trying to make as much space in the diary for everything, or as much space as possible for everything this month. Right. Having said that, let me get the donations tab up on screen, because I can see that there has been a donation, and there were donations before we went live. So thank you guys for these. And just so you know, you don't have to donate, but if you feel like you can't resist it, then The percentages are on screen at the moment. Between 35 and 45% goes to YouTube through the Super Chat window, and through the PayPal window or the PayPal link, between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal. So just so you know the percentage splits, where your donations go. And yeah, the link, by the way, is in the description below to PayPal if you want to do things that way. But just before we started the live stream, we did have some donations which I'm going to address now, and let's have a look into my YouTube studio. Oh, just quickly mentioning that annoyingly YouTube Studio isn't working properly on my phone or my tablet, and then I've tried somebody else's tablet and it's not working on their tablet. So as I go through the comments, I'm still reading all of the comments, but unfortunately the only things that are registering are my replies to people, if they might be asking a question or they might mention something in their comment that I then reply to. The thumbs up and the hearts, when I click on them, as soon as I refresh the screen, they all disappear. But the replies stay where they were. So I'm not sure what's going on with the app at the moment, but those aren't registering. So if you see me replying in the comment section, I'm still reading all of the comments, but just to notify people that I have read them all, those aren't working at the moment. So I don't know whether that's going to improve in the future, whether they're going to update the app, and it's just a little bit frustrating because I do like to go through all of the comments and mark them all so you guys know that I have read your comment. But if you have been watching this channel for any length of time, you'll know that I do read all of the messages anyway, all of the comments, and I make a note of the requests as well. So we'll just have to see what happens with that situation. Fingers crossed it will get resolved, but if it doesn't, never fear, I am still reading all of the comments. Right, let's now try and get organised for tonight's live stream. I was just about to address the donations that came in before we went live, and it was Jennifer who donated $8. Thank you for that, Jennifer. And the message is: for fun, did you have a superhero as a kid? What superpower would you want? Would love to be able to read minds or become invisible. So thank you for that, Jennifer. And I mean, having a superhero power, I haven't really thought about that. It would be quite cool to fly, I guess. And I liked Superman when I was younger. I mean, just like the movies. Trying to think of other characters. There was the Incredible Hulk, which I liked when I was a kid as well. But if I had a superpower, I don't know. I wouldn't really be too bothered about reading minds or becoming invisible. I don't think that's something that, you know, instantly I think, oh yeah, I'd love to be able to do that. I mean, flying would be cool, but just for the world, like, I think quite a useful superpower would probably be for every weapon that there is in the world to not work. so that, I mean, and I'm talking about even like knives. So for some reason, you could use the implements for, you know, the jobs that they were intended to do. So say, for example, knives, you might be using those to cut things when you're cooking, but then when you try to do it in violence, they wouldn't work. So, and that goes for guns and rockets and all that kind of stuff. So it meant that any dispute that there was, at least both people or both sides are fair. So you've got a fighting chance, because if everything didn't work, it meant that you would have to probably train as like a boxer or martial arts or something. And if you were like me, naturally fast at running, and if somebody had a dispute with you and they wanted to take it to the point of violence, you could run away. So you've got a valid escape plan if you don't want to get involved with violence, because unfortunately around the world nowadays, if you don't want to get involved with violence, that doesn't matter anymore. So it would, I mean, if there was a superpower, I don't know how to describe that kind of superpower, but it would be really cool to just click your fingers and now all weapons were like void and they didn't work anymore. I think it would definitely help a lot. But other than that, I know that superpower's probably got different levels to it, where you'd have to explain about, you know, using sharp implements just for the things that they were designed to do. or just getting rid of them altogether. I don't know. But yeah, other than that, I'd say flying would probably be quite cool. And I mean, flying quite fast, you know, like Superman, so that you can cover a ridiculous amount of distance very quickly. I just think that would be very convenient to do. Anyway, thank you for that, Jennifer. And I mean, this is one of those questions. I'm sure lots of people have different superpowers, but you know, those are just ones that I think would be useful for many different reasons. But anyway, thank you for that, Jennifer. And then Paul has donated $2 as well. Thank you for that, Paul. And we all know that Paul is Orlando's backup, as he states, and he says, "Spike the likes, y'all. Orlando's backup." So thank you for that, Paul. And I think we're then up to date in that super chat window for those donations. So thank you for those. We then had another donation from Jennifer that came in for $10. Thank you for that in the super chat window. And the message is, Phil, in honor of Fred Zeppelin's new job, and say hi to Howard, who is under the weather. Hope Arm is well. So thank you for that, and congratulations to Fred on the new job, and hello to Howard, and I hope you feel better soon, Howard. I'm sure everybody wishes that for you in the live chat room as well. So thank you, Jennifer, for that donation. And Stardust Unicorn has donated. Support band to Wings of Pegasus, as I always say. They have donated $5. Thank you for that. It's a straight up donation. And then Orlando's in there with a $5 donation as well. Thank you for that, Orlando. And the message is, I am late. I am with family celebrating my dad's 81st birthday. Spike the likes. So thank you for that, Orlando. And great idea. If you guys can hit that thumbs up, it would be great. And we were just at 234. Oh no, that was how many people were watching. It's 254, the amount of likes. So more likes than people watching. So amazing. But if you can hit that thumbs up, it would be great to get a spike of the likes. Great idea there from Orlando. And 380 we're aiming for tonight. Huge total. Fingers crossed. We will see where we end up with that. If you're watching this in the future on catch up, you can still hit that thumbs up. It really does help this live stream to get out there and for the channel to grow on the whole. So let me just mention as well, I will get into the PayPal donations. Don't worry if you have donated through PayPal. I address all of the donations during the live streams, and even the ones that come in between the live streams. I do like to mention all of them. But the other thing that I want to draw your attention to is the vote for tonight. We have a couple of cover videos that are currently, it looks like pretty much 50-50. We've got Miles Away, that is one option, or Wanted, Dead or Alive. So we've got a little bit of Winger versus Bon Jovi for tonight's live stream. And just click on either of those in that poll to see the cover video that you want to see tonight. So really close tonight so far. 51% now to Wanted, Dead or Alive. So those clicks really do count. Get those in before we jump into the cover video for tonight. We're going to be doing our pick roulette as always, because we did hit that target last week, and we have a few pictures to look at a little bit later on as well. So stay tuned for all of that. Let me get that PayPal donations window up on screen, because we did have a few donations. Actually, what I'm going to do is remove it because of the donations that we had that came in quite a while ago. And of course, through PayPal, I have lots of different notifications for, subscriptions for my live streaming software that gets taken out of PayPal. My website gets taken out of PayPal. So I've got lots of different emails, and we don't want to be going through all of those during a live stream. So I'm going to kind of jump between them, but I will mention them. And as soon as we get a little bit more recent to tonight's live stream, then I can show them, because there are lots of them in a row rather than having to kind of jump between different emails. Anyway, Chris donated £7 and 58 pence. So thank you for that, Chris. And that was at 1:47 in the morning on Wednesday. So that would have been after the live stream last time. And the message is, Phil, missed your Tuesday live show, but here's a donation. Enjoy all of your analysis. So thank you for that, Chris. And yes, so yeah, Chris donated and was a little bit late to the live stream, unfortunately, but 12 midnight Greenwich Mean Time. That's the time that you want to be tuning in on a Tuesday and a Saturday, and it's probably worth just typing into Google the time zone, or just time in London, England, question mark, or even just time in England, because we don't have any different time zones. It's all the same. So you'll be able to find what the time is and then just calculate what the time is where you are, and then just work out the hours difference to make sure that you do join me live on the live streams. I know that some people still think that they are watching live when it's actually recorded, but this is just the nature of doing a live stream, is that even when it's played later, of course it's still going to seem live, so you're going to have to just check your clocks to make sure that everything syncs up correctly. Is currently 28. It's just turned over to 28 minutes past midnight here in the UK, which you guys will be able to see up there in the corner. So thank you, Chris, for that donation. Oh, and I think Jennifer mentioned in her donation earlier saying she hoped the arm was well. So thank you for that. And the arm isn't too bad at the moment. I thought maybe last night I'd done a little bit too much of the physio, the exercise, but it seems like I got away with it and it's okay today. So fingers crossed it'll keep on improving. I'm starting to see, slight improvements with, again, it's just range of motion. That's all I'm really looking at the moment. I'm not, doing any resistance training or anything, apart from one very specific exercise, which is just really gently moving my arm away from my body and just, effectively placing a little bit. It's just with a really light elastic band. So not really doing any weights or anything yet, but at least that seems to be getting stronger, and all of the other exercises that I do from a physiotherapy standpoint are just stretches. So, technically I am now holding my arm out straight, which I couldn't do before. So, that's a massive step forward for me, being able to hold this arm out like that. I know it seems ridiculous to most people. You could just hold your arm out straight and it doesn't hurt at all. But now for me to be able to do that and not feel any pain in my arm, it's a really slow process, just improving bit by bit. But for me, that is great to be able to just hold my arm out straight. When I then rotate my wrist and do things in different angles and put my arm down and then up, that's when I start to feel a bit of tension on the tendon still, but at least I've got to the point of being painless having my arm out straight, which is great. So yeah, it is improving. It's just a very slow process, unfortunately, but I'm hoping that because I've now got to the point of being able to do that everything else will follow. It's just having the patience to, know that it isn't a case of saying I want to be, cured or back to full fitness in 4 weeks. You've just got to wait as long as it takes, and however long that is, it's like how long's a piece of string. You just got to wait until your body has sorted itself out, until you can do everything and move everything without resistance, and then that'd be great, because I think I'll be quite happy just doing all of the movements naturally and having that full range of motion, getting back to playing guitar, because playing guitar isn't resisted. It's just a continual movement of a range of motion. So I'd love to just get back to that, and then I'll probably weight off I'll weight off the weights with resistance training for probably quite a while, just to make sure the tendon's got a little bit more time just to sort itself out before then starting to add resistance into the mix. But anyway, thank you for that, Jennifer. I know that I didn't address that before, but thank you for asking. And thank you, Chris, for that donation. I will just jump into the next one that came in. And this was from Chuck. So thank you for that, Chuck. It was a straight up donation, and that was for £2. So thank you for that, Chuck. And I'm just going to have to skip around a bit. Oh, I did see that Penny over on PayPal did, I think, a money request and then a money cancellation and then a request and then a cancellation. So, and they all came with, I think, the same question. So, and I think we did get a donation at the end, but it was just trying to obviously suss out the PayPal donation system. But just to mention this one, Penny did donate, I think $10 in the end, but I will get to that one. And it was referencing earplugs. How do singers use the custom plugs that seal the ears entirely? Do they hear their own voice or click track or question mark? So thank you for that, Penny. And this is, I mean, really similar to what I mentioned, I think, on the last live stream or the live stream that we did a couple of times ago, where we have earplugs. And I mentioned that my earplugs have an inner tube where there's a gap where you have your in-ear monitors that play through the gap in the middle of the earplug. So it means that for all intents and purposes, the sound from outside I'm getting protected from, because I've got an earplug, and the only thing that's allowed to go into my ear is the sound of my in-ear monitors. So I haven't got them custom made for my ears, but you can do. So it means that you get your ears, I mean, generally if you're doing this professionally, you're going to be getting a, effectively a mold. I was going to say plaster cast, but I don't think they have to do that. It's like a mold of your ear that you just push in there, and it's soft to begin with, and then you take it out and it's now got the mold of your ear. It then becomes solid, and they make the in-ear monitors to the shape of your ear so that when you push it in there, it's a really snug fit. But in exactly the same way, we're not talking about pushing it into your ear and now you can't hear anything because you're effectively deaf, because it just totally seals your ear. It has exactly the same setup as what I have, but now it's fitted. So it means that you'll have a channel built into that in-ear monitor, or I should say earplug, that you then attach to your in-ear monitor, so then you can hear whatever you want to hear in your ears, but it is sealed. So you get a really precise, controlled sound as to what you want to hear in your in-ears. So that's how it works. And like I said, mine aren't custom, but they're exactly the same kind of thing. So you can then get a mix either from the desk of vocals or instruments, guitars, or maybe you want to have the drums a bit louder. You can then have that all in your ears. But I mean, generally, I don't go through the desk because I use my in-ear monitors for just my voice, and I want to make sure that I have control of how loud my voice is in my ears. So that's pretty much all I have a mix of. Generally, when I have my earplugs in, I can still hear, because it is quite loud when you're playing with a band, and if you're playing in a big venue, you will be able to hear the band. So generally I can hear that in the background, and if the band sound is quite low down, all that means is that I then just turn down my vocal in my ears to balance it with what I can hear. So I feel like having my own mix and being in control of it is just how I prefer to work. And it means that on my in-ear monitoring system, I usually have it on my belt at the back right, and there's a little volume on the top of it, so I'll just reach back and adjust that between songs if I do want to change the levels, if I want to hear my voice a little bit more or a little bit less. It's all really easy to access, and the wireless system that I have is wireless. The in-ear monitoring system, I should have said, that I have is wireless, because it just makes it a little bit easier to not be attached to anything. And I think generally that's how a lot of artists do it nowadays, that you have I just have it on the top of my amp to communicate with then the desk. So the desk comes out of the unit that I have on top of my amp, that goes to the desk, but there's an output on that going to the desk, but also an output that comes to my ear so that I can just control it manually, which is what I prefer to do. Anyway, let me move on. Again, that's something that once you start talking about this kind of stuff, hopefully that makes sense, but you can start talking about this for a long time, and on stage setups, all that kind of stuff. Everybody's different, but that's just how I tend to do it. That's what I prefer to do. So let me just make sure that I didn't miss out any donations there. I think I might have jumped up quite a long way, so let me get that organized. What I'm going to do actually is just scroll through these emails that I got from Penny, because there were lots of them. And yes, it was a £10 donation that Penny did, so thank you for that. And just scrolling up, Hannah has donated £5 as well. Thank you for that, Hannah. And the message was, thanks for the live stream. What could inspire you to write new music? How many songs did you write before the Songs for Persistence? So thank you for that, Hannah. And the first half of that question, I don't think anybody really knows what can inspire them to write music, because if they could, then they'd be inspired all the time and constantly write inspirational songs and just songs that they can't help but write. But I've said before in other live streams that when writing music, inspiration just kind of hits, and then you write the music, you write the song, you get down the riff, you make sure that you record it on your phone if you haven't got access to anything in order to record it. I've always got a voice recorder on my phone which I record riffs on as well, but that pretty much just happens. You never really, it'll be really convenient if you thought, right, I've got a spare 10 minutes now, so what I'm going to do is write a really good riff and start a really good song. You can sit down and think, right, let me try and think of a riff, but generally it doesn't work that way. You've got to have a riff, or you might just be playing your guitar and then a riff will happen that you think, oh, I really like the sound of that. You'll record it, and then sometimes the next day you'll listen to it back and think, oh, it isn't actually that good. So yeah, you can't really automatically be inspired, and there's loads of musicians, songwriters who just have writer's block for years. They don't get that inspiration or those ideas to write again, but they used to. So I think it's just a case of not stressing about it, relaxing, and just accepting that it's an art form, so whatever happens, and don't try and force it, because then when you start to force it, people can hear that it's not the same kind of music, or it doesn't sound as inspirational because they're trying to force out songs, to meet a deadline, and that's never how art is going to work. But before Persistence, I don't know how many songs I'd written. I don't have any idea, because we started playing. I had my first cover band at age 19, so probably age 19, 20, 21 is when I was doing covers. And then probably age 22, I would start writing original material. But having said that, I know that when I was 19, messing around with Cubase, I was writing riffs and writing songs and just, messing around with ideas. And with my first band, Panic Attack, when I was 23, I think, then we were writing songs. Then as a band, just getting together. And I just remember a really old song called Broken Road. That was one of my first songs that I wrote, and took that to Panic Attack, and we were messing around with different songs. So there's probably quite a few of them, but I think for Persistence, pretty much, those were all. I know that we had a demo before which was like 7 or 8 songs with Panic Attack, but the songs that made it to Persistence, most of them I'd say were fairly recent, but I think you always tend to think that your most recent songs are your best ones, because you learn as you go with songwriting how to do it a little bit better, or you at least think, that middle 8 in that other song. Or no, I remember all of our songs with Panic Attack didn't have middle 8s, or if they did, it was rare. So it's just like a verse, chorus, guitar solo, chorus, and that's all we did. So there are probably quite a lot of songs like that. But then a little bit later on, maybe mid-20s, late 20s, I started to think about middle 8s, which are also called bridges, putting those in the songs. So just writing a little bit more professionally, or just making songs a little bit more interesting. So the songs then develop, and then when I got to the songs for Persistence, those are all songs that were of that level of having middle 8s in there and having guitar solos, sometimes not having a guitar solo in there if that's or how I felt the song, what it required or what it didn't require. Sometimes writing songs and wanting to put a guitar solo in there, you've got to question, does this song require a guitar solo, or does it sound like it doesn't need one? Because that's often the case. And very much with Paris Nord at the beginning of this live stream that we listened to, that didn't have a long solo in it. There was just one that was after, I think, the first chorus, that I thought, I think it would be nice to have a little instrumental there and then getting into the next verse, but not an extended guitar solo like I do have in other songs. So yeah, it's just how it sits with you as an artist, and whether you feel like, oh, I need to put in this particular, you know, guitar solo, or this solo has to be in here, or this song needs a solo. So yeah, you've sometimes got to see it as a whole, like see it as a song, not as a chance to show off if playing your latest techniques that you've worked at as a guitarist. I know that is really tempting, but you've got to look at the overall art of what you're doing and try and see it not as a chance to show off. I think that's a really important thing for any, you know, instrumentalist, even vocalist. You might be able to hit a really high note, but sometimes you don't always need to hit a really high note. Just, you know, hitting an A4, maybe a G4 in chest voice, that can suffice if it just fits the mood of the song. So yeah, it's all about taking a step back and looking at it as a piece of art and what it needs, and more importantly, what it doesn't need. So anyway, thank you for that, Hannah. And I'm just going to scroll up because, yeah, we aren't yet up to date. We had another donation that came in earlier today from Tammy for £10. So thank you for that, Tammy. The message was, "Hi Phil, congrats on hitting 261,000 subscribers. What advice would you give to someone who is starting a music career?" So thank you for that, Tammy. Again, this is one of those questions that I could spend years, literally years, because yeah, I started when I was 19, and I'd say that I started doing it full time when I was maybe 35, 36. So we're talking about almost 20 years of just day in, day out working at it. All I can say is my advice would be, you've got to be in it for the long haul. So just do something every day to try and get your music out there a little bit more. And probably to begin with, you're just not going to be able to do it full time. I know that people have got this, I don't know why, but they've got this dream, or this, you know, rose tinted spectacle view of the music industry, like it's not the same as every other industry, but it is. So if you've invented anything and you've got to now get your invention out there for people to buy, you've got to do that. You've got to set up a website. You've got to make sure that your invention is the best that you can get it. You've then got to go on all of the websites that have things where you think people might be interested in your invention, and message people directly and say, would you be interested in this invention that I have? I think you might like it. It's exactly the same with music. And as I've said many times, I messaged on Twitter over 100,000 people individually, and that is a process that took me years and years. But every day I would try and message maybe 10 or 20, however many I could fit in, and I looked at people who were subscribed or followed bands like Bon Jovi or Mr. or, you know, Lynch Mob, Dokken, all of these different bands who I thought my music sounded similar to, or they might enjoy my music. I then messaged all of those people individually, and like I said, that went to over 100,000 people. So you've got to be in it for the long haul. I then went into London on the train. I used to get up at 5 in the morning on my days off from teaching, and myself and Griff would meet up in London, get on the train, go to, first of all Paddington, but then, Tottenham Court Road and Leicester Square. And we used to go to, Capital FM and different radio stations. There was Absolute Radio as well. But anyway, I'm not going to name them all, but we went to different radio stations, waited outside for the DJs to finish their morning segment, which they might finish at 9 in the morning or 10. So it means that we got in there, probably waited for about an hour outside. And if they didn't come out of the studio for an hour and it was like 11 or 12, we would wait there until we saw them, and then we'd give them our CD, tell them about our band, and ask them maybe they could check out our music. So yeah, I went through all of that. And then if they didn't check it out, then a couple of weeks later we'd go down again and talk to them again and just go through the same process. So you've got to be in it for the long haul. But as I've said before, I think that when you then start doing it full time, you get to appreciate it so much more, because you've been through all of those early mornings traveling in, to London, and on the packed trains where people are going to work. So you're literally squashed into a train for 45 minutes, but you've been through all of that, and you've spent the best part of 20 years not getting anywhere, but then as soon as you get a little bit of traction, that's where you think, wow, this is amazing, and this is what I've spent all of this time doing. And this is why sometimes I find it quite entertaining when you might have a teenager who's 16 or 17 or 18, and they say, oh, I've been working for this my whole life. Typically on these TV shows where they go in for an audition, they say, I've been working for this my whole life. And I think I've been working at this longer than you've been alive, let alone, so as soon as you were born, you would then maybe go down to a radio station with your CD that you've recorded. So I do find it entertaining but again, this is another great example of people's own lives being their own reality, and they can't see things from your point of view. To them, they have been spending their whole life trying to get somewhere, and it has been a real struggle for them. So if they do get a break at age 18 or 19, then for them, they do genuinely think that they've gone through working really hard, and that is their reality, and not to take anything away from that, but I think having gone through it for almost 20 years, I think I would appreciate it so much more on a deeper level than somebody who maybe got success after maybe 5 years or maybe 10 years. I think the longer you've been at it, then you get the break, the more you can appreciate it, because you think, literally every day, every single, comment, every single patron that I get over on patreon.com/Wings of Pegasus, I do say thank you for becoming a patron. It's massively appreciated. And I mean, a lot of them do message me directly. So every single patron, every single comment, every single donation on the live streams, I want to address them all, because I know what it's like to not have any following or any support, and having to teach, and then putting everything that I have from my teaching and all the money that I make from that, putting that all into then my music, and just breaking even the whole time and never really getting any or making any headway. So I know what that's like. So that's why every single donation is massively appreciated, and that's why I say that it is massively appreciated all the time. Anyway, thank you for that, Tammy. I would say just persistence, the name of my album, that's just the biggest thing that you can have for trying to start out in music. But I think the other thing is just being realistic and knowing that it's in an industry. So you've got to be prepared for knowing how many albums you've got to sell to make a full-time living out of music, what you've got to achieve numbers wise in order to do that. And then once you've got that number, work back. You think, right, how many fans do I need to get? For example, how many patrons might I need before I can start moving away from what I'm doing as a day job? For me, it was teaching guitar, moving the hours away from doing that. Say that you've got X amount of patrons that are now supporting you at this particular level. It means that, right, I can now remove 2 or 3 students a week and spend that time on making more videos, or spending longer with my editing, or doing collaborations. And eventually, you'll move further and further away from what you do as a day job, and you can start doing more of whatever you're doing, be that analysis videos, as I do on the channel, live streams, collaborations, the under the spotlight videos that I was doing, and the in at the deep end videos that I was doing. All of these different things are allowed to happen, like live streaming twice a week for the last kind of 3 or 4 years without missing one. All of this is now available to you because of the support that you get over on Patreon, and that's why I say that is the foundation of everything that I do. So yes, a huge thank you to you guys for joining me on these live streams, but for all of your support as well. I'm just going to look into the PayPal donations window as well. Wow, it's 10 to 1 already, so we are going to be jumping into the cover, which we haven't looked at yet. We've got pictures, and we've got the pick roulette as well. But Steve donated £5. Thank you for that, Steve. And just going to scroll down, because the message is, how do you structure a set to keep an audience engaged, not overwhelmed or bored? So thank you for that, Steve. And this is something that I think a lot of people don't really think about, and how you organize an album, trying to make a journey out of your album of songs rather than just putting them in a random order. And I would say, first of all, I liked to start sets with an upbeat song. I would follow that either with another upbeat song or a mid-tempo song. Third song, I'd bring the tempo down a little bit. Fourth song, we'd then bring it back up with maybe a mid-tempo, to get it to now flow into the end, because generally when you're playing a set for maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, depending on how long your songs are, you're looking at maybe 7 or 8 songs. So that meant that we went kind of, fast up tempo, maybe medium tempo, but I'd probably try and keep an up tempo track in there. Then to a slower mid tempo, probably a ballad, something like either Don't Cry or Paris Nord. For me, they're actually not really slow songs, so I'd throw that in there, number 3. Then maybe generally I only had one ballad per set, so if I was putting Amelia in there, for example, that is a lot slower, so I'd probably have 3, a mid-tempo song is the third one, and then slow things down, and then I'm up to number 5. So we've only got 3 or 4 songs left, so we then go maybe mid-tempo, and then 5, 6, 7 up-tempo, big finish. Generally always finish with That's Metal to my ears, and that would be it. So you've gone quickly, you've then relaxed, had a bit of a ballad. If we're really bringing it down to that ballad, song 3 or 4, then mid-tempo for the big finish. So it's kind of, you're starting at a peak, going back down all the way dynamically. Effectively, with a ballad, you're taking it all the way down, and then you're building back up for the big finish, the crescendo of your set. So thank you, Steve, for that. That's just how I used to do it. Everybody's different, and I know that some songs or some bands like songs that are a bit slower to begin with. I have seen bands that have started with a ballad, a slow tempo ballad, which is fine. It just depends the kind of mood you want to go for, whereas I just like to go all guns blazing straight into the set with something like Percy Johnson to open things up. So thank you for that, Steve. And just going to scroll up because Marco has donated £5 as well. Thank you for that, Marco. And the message is, thank you for entertaining us. Do you still have your first guitar? So thank you for that, Marco. And yes, I do. I have a Tanglewood Nevada, which is in my room. Just I say it's my emergency practice guitar, but that's the one that I used to take to school. I used to play other people's guitars at school when I didn't have a guitar, but then I used to take that to school and play in between kind of break times. I took it to university as well. At college, I took it to college and went into the music rooms. Even though I wasn't doing a music course, I was doing sport and exercise science. But in the lunch breaks, I would go into the music rooms and just go into rehearsal room and practice guitar, play that as much as I could, take my amp as well and turn it up a little bit loudly. And I remember that one of the teachers on my course played guitar as well, so we just had a jam, even though it was totally unsports related. But he was very interested in that, and from what I remember, he was a good player, and he was slightly different to me. I was more into kind of blues and Hendrix, but he was more into kind of alternate picking and tapping and stuff. So it was cool to play with another guitarist who was totally different to the way that I played. So that was a cool jam. Anyway, thank you for that, Marco. We are going to be jumping into tonight's cover. I'm just looking at the time. We're at 5-1 already and 363 likes so far. Looking for 17 in order to hit that goal up in the corner. So we will look into that live chat room. If you haven't hit that thumbs up, it'd be massively appreciated. Let's jump into tonight's cover for tonight. And I can see that in the vote, I'm going to end it with what I saw there was Wanted Dead or Alive at 50% of the vote. So we're going to have to see what goes through here. And it looks like it is Wanted Dead or Alive, 50% of the vote. So thank you guys for voting. And this is 50 points something. YouTube doesn't show the point. So it looks really weird to have a vote that's 50% and then the other one got 49%. But thank you guys for voting. It looks like there were 324 votes. We're going to be jumping into a little bit of Bon Jovi and my version of it, of course. I hope you guys enjoy this one, and I'll see you guys after. Rock!
it's all the same. Only the names are changed every day. It seems like we're wasting away. Another place where the faces are so cold. I drive all night just to get back home. 'Cause I'm a cowboy on this steel horse I ride. Wanted, dead or alive. Sometimes I sleep, sometimes it's not for days. The people I meet always go their own separate ways. Sometimes you tell the day by the bottle that you drink. Times when you're alone, when all you do is think. 'Cause I'm a cowboy on this steel horse I ride. Oh, wanted, dead or alive. I want these streets, a loaded 6-string on my back. I play for keeps, 'cause I might not make it back. I've been everywhere, and still I'm standing tall. I've seen a million faces, and I've rocked them all. 'Cause I'm a cowboy on this steel horse I ride. I wanted, dead or alive. I wanted, dead or alive. I wanted, dead or
And there we have it. That was my version of the Bon Jovi classic. I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and thank you for voting for it in tonight's live stream, and you guys over on Patreon for suggesting it in the first place. So let's try and keep everything organized. I know that there have been a lot of donations, so thank you guys so much for all of those. And I'm just gonna jump into, first of all, the super chat window to make sure that I didn't miss any out over there, because we've had a donation that's come in from Echo, who has donated $5. Thank you for that. And the message is, could you do a reaction video for Jeff Buckley, possibly along with his father Tim? So thank you for that. And Jeff is on the channel here somewhere, so it's probably best if you type in Jeff Buckley, British guitarist. That's a handle that works with all of the analysis videos. So if you just type in a British guitarist analysis, Jeff Buckley, then you should be able to find that. Haven't done one on Tim yet, but thank you, Echo, for that. Jennifer's donated $5. Again, thank you for that, Jennifer. The message is, Phil, any advice for learning guitar chords? Also, area some harder. Oh, also, are some harder on your fingers and wrists than others? Thanks. Generally, I'd say that they're all the same. You've just got to get your fingers and your flexibility in your hand going, and just the more you practice, the more flexible your hand will become, and the more independent your fingers will become. Because to begin with, everybody's fingers want to do the same thing, but then when you start playing guitar, you'll be able to, for example, move your little finger in isolation, kind of get it out of the way and all that kind of stuff. So it's just you learning how to use the muscles in your wrist and the muscle memory storing all the movements. But I'd say that there isn't one that's kind of harder. I mean, bar chords are going to be harder But if you're talking about basic open string chords at the bottom of the guitar that you tend to start with, then those are all relatively similar. But as soon as you start getting to an F, for example, that's where people now have to sometimes try and play a full bar chord, and that is going to be a little bit more difficult. But I mean, I would always suggest trying to play the bar chords with your thumb over the top of the neck rather than having it behind, because it means that you'll be able to play for a lot longer when you're practicing, but also in your life you won't have any wrist issues, because a lot of people that play a lot of bar chords with their thumb behind, you can't help but have your wrist in that position, because that's what's going to happen. Whereas when you play with your bar chords with the thumb over the top, you just make a fist like this, and it's, you know, really easy to play your bar chords. It's very much keeping the arms straight, so it's the most efficient way of doing it, rather than arching your, you know, hand back and giving yourself wrist issues. Anyway, thank you for that. And let me just make sure that the other thing that I do suggest, if you are learning to play guitar, you're just starting, get the lightest strings you can, because the things that will hurt your fingers are the strings, it's not the chord shapes. So make sure that you just go as light as you can with your guitar strings to begin with. And generally on acoustic, those will be 10s, and on electric guitar you can go as low as 8s if you want to. I know that you can get 7s as well, it just depends. But yeah, I've said before about, I think they're called extra slinky, the Ernie Ball extra slinky strings. I think in the blue packet those are 8s, so those are the, you know, really thin strings, so they're good to get started with if you are a beginner. So thank you for that, Jennifer. And then even if you advance and you feel like you like those strings, just stay with them. You don't have to get heavier strings because you're becoming more advanced as a player. Just play with the strings that you play best with and you feel that you can express yourself the most with. Anyway, thank you for that, Jennifer. Orlando donated $2 again. Thank you for that. The message is, thank you for the birthday wishes for my dad, and no problem. And I'm sure that goes out to the live chat room as well. Everybody wishing Orlando's dad the happy birthday. Orlando donated again $5 and said, out of curiosity, when a famous musician passes away, who decides to release previously unreleased work or found material? Who has that power? And this is all to do with the contracts that were signed. So sometimes the record label own everything and then they decide to release stuff that they didn't put on an album. Often you'll have artists that record, say, 12 tracks, and on the album they put 10 because they thought that 2 weren't strong enough, but then the artist becomes very popular and the record label still own 2 songs that they haven't released, and either they release them, or when the person passes away they now release unreleased material which the record company own, and they'll take all the money for that. And it's, you know, a shame because there's generally interest in the artist because they've passed away, and the record label will jump on that interest and try and make a bit of money out of it. But if in the contract it was the artist who owned their material, then it will go to their estate or their family member or members, whoever they have left their rights to in their will. So that's something that will then move over to them. So thank you for that, Orlando. Lisa has donated $10 as well. Lisa A, thank you for this. The message is, hey there, Phil. Going back to your school days, which groups of kids did you hang out with, like popular, band, etc.? And how old were you when you started wearing the cool hair? So thank you for that. Well, the cool hair, I mean, that's subjective, but thank you for that. The cool hair was age 23, I think, something like that, when I started to grow it. And that was all, you know, with Panic Attack. My first jam that I had with the drummer and the guitarist, I had short hair and I was the only one, you know, they both had long hair, so I thought, oh, I'm going to grow it, and then it just kind of stuck. So yeah, 23. Before that, I had my hair cut short pretty much. At school, I had it, you know, shaved because it was cheaper. So we saved money on haircuts because my mum just bought a shaver and kind of did that and just put the grades on there. I can't remember what I had, maybe a grade 2 or grade 3, but it's just the same all over. Just did that every few weeks. So trying to think of, I mean, the people that I'd hang out with, I think generally it was the sports crowd, because I was quite good at football and I was quite fast at running, so it meant that I won like the 100 meters in the sports days. I won hurdles as well. Generally I'd win the long jump and the triple jump, just because I could run very fast, so it meant that when I jumped I just went a bit further than everybody else. So yeah, those were my main events. Maybe 200 meters as well, so I was kind of a sprinter, but then I played football as well, and football was my main sport. So yeah, I just hang around with, I think a lot of people find it difficult to find their place in school and who to hang around with. I think that being good at sport is a real advantage, because it means that you are popular because you're winning things, and you're winning like player of the year and all of that kind of stuff. And football, or soccer as we call it here in the UK, was quite a cool thing to be good at. So if you were good at soccer, then you were relatively okay, and people didn't mind kind of hanging around with you. And I think another thing is that I was very much brought up to, either rightly or wrongly. My dad said, at school, if you get bullied, if somebody, he always said to me that, sticks and stones might break my bones, but words will never hurt me. So he said, anything anybody says, it's a word. It doesn't do anything. It's never going to hurt you. So don't worry about, people calling you names or anything. But if somebody hits you, then you hit them back, because they've hit you first. So that's something that I took to school. So the only time that I got hit or kicked, I just kicked the guy back, and I don't think he was expecting that, and then it never happened again. So yeah, generally that was how things went at school. That anything physical, I kept myself quite fit, so I didn't really have a problem with retaliating to somebody who has hit me first. And I know that generally in a court of law anyway, if you have been hit, then you've got the right to defend yourself from future attacks, that they're not just going to hit you once, they might be going for you. So yeah, that was good advice, I think, from my dad, and that's what I would say to people. And I think it's always good to keep yourself fit, and I worked out and lift weights probably from the age of 13, so I was into sport, I was into football, like I said, and I'd be training for that twice a week and having 2 matches a week, sometimes 3 matches a week, so I was physically fit as well. And anyway, thank you for that donation, Lisa. And M donated $5 and says rock on. Thank you for that. Barb donated $20 and says you are amazing with the guy dancing around. Thank you for that, Barb. And Paul has donated $2 and says thanks to the moderators. Huge shout out to the moderators for tonight. I think we are going to run over time because it's already 1:10 in the morning here in the UK. So let's jump into some pictures. I know that there have been PayPal donations as well that I haven't yet looked at or featured. So let's just jump into the pictures first of all and get the background up on screen. It might be the case that tonight I just reference the PayPal donations while leaving everything open to enter for next week's Pick Roulette, but we haven't got there yet. So let me just jump to the uploads. Thank you guys for uploading these pictures, by the way. And the first one is coming in from Kim Ann, who has this picture, I think, going to a Chicago Cubs game. And I think that is baseball. And looking at the shirt, I can see that it is baseball. So thank you for uploading that one, Kim Ann. And also to Vince for linking me to that one, and for wearing the Wings of Pegasus mask, of course, as well. So thank you for that, Kim Ann. And moving on, we have this picture that was sent in by Nicole. So thank you for this, Nicole. It is a picture, it's a little bit small on my screen, but it's got a Pegasus on there. It's got an England flag. It might have, I'm not sure whether that's Maidenhead Bridge or not, but Maidenhead Bridge does look similar. And then we've got some guy, with a guitar and with his arms crossed. So thank you for that, Nicole, for sending that one in. And we have this picture that's come in from Vince, watching a band with his Wings of Pegasus hoodie on. So thank you for that. And I'm just going to scroll. I think we have one more. Oh yeah, this picture we have, and this is the bear in Maidenhead, but it's not been taken by me. This was taken by Kevin. So thank you, Kevin, for taking a picture of this, because Kevin was in Maidenhead. So he was in my hometown. He's been in there recently. He went to the bear. He had a meal as well. And yeah, he has been spending a little bit of time checking out Maidenhead. And I think on the day that he was in Maidenhead, I know I was driving around doing something, but I can't remember what it was. Most likely taking, amplifier to my dad or something, or helping him out with his music setup or something. I know that I was, in the car on this particular day. So I might have driven past, unknown to Kevin in Maidenhead, but thank you, Kevin, for uploading this picture. And interestingly, this is the venue that I met, or should I say, Griff, who we've had on the live stream before, who's been in the live chat room. He used to be in me with Panic Attack, and then with, he was in the band for Wings of Pegasus when we played live, and he met me at the Bear to then tell me that he wasn't going to be doing music anymore, and pretty much this is the venue from where I then went solo and decided to take everything online, and therefore, this is where we ended up now. It all started at this venue, the Bear in Maidenhead. So, thank you, Kevin. I mean, Kevin didn't know that, but thank you for taking this picture. And I thought I'd just mention that about that particular venue in Maidenhead. Anyway, let's quickly, we'll jump into the pick roulette. We'll do the donations afterwards. But I know that we have hit the target. We're going to have to wait for the entries to open. And that actually happens, and those entries open after this pick roulette. So let's jump into this, and I'll see you guys in a second. Rock. So let's get the pick roulette wheel up on screen, and I haven't picked a top tip for tonight. I don't know why we're calling it top tip, because the person never wins. I've got a 0% winning record, but I'm going to pick Judy P as the top tip for tonight. So, commiserations already to Judy, unless this is the first ever live stream when I've picked the winner before even spinning the wheel. Of course, it's entirely random, but fingers crossed that will happen. Judy P, we are looking out for your name on that wheel. But, by the way, the darker segments you can see going through are the t-shirts. So if we land on one of those, we have a t-shirt roulette, but we are slowing down. Look, there's Judy P. Unbelievable. And we know it's quite close. Wasn't really that close, but it looks like it might be Bonnie Sue or Chris. Again, I think Chris won recently. And there we have it. Chris, I believe, has won again. I'm pretty sure Chris won before. That's why I say I believe they won again. This is the second pick win. So congratulations to you, Chris. And I think it's just 2 times that Chris has won. But congratulations to you, Chris. And commiserations to Judy P. And I can see that Judy P is just in the live chat room saying, oh boy, Wings of Pegasus. So, yeah, sadly, I've just put the curse on Judy P for tonight, but I always say you can double your chances of winning by tuning in on a Tuesday and a Saturday. That goes for everybody. And yeah, commiserations to everybody. Chris, if you can let yourself be known in that live chat room to Carla, that would be fantastic. Let's get everything off the screen now. And it seems like we are back. Everything's ready. I'm going to go into the PayPal donations window. Just before I do, the entries for next week's pick roulette are now open. So what you need to do in order to get your name on the wheel next week is type I agree. Let me actually spell it correctly, and then tag Carla Murray in your comment and try. I've just spelt literally the 3 words I'm writing. I've misspelt 3 times. So at Carla Murray. Have I spelled that correctly? This is probably not even going to work. I'm going to try and do that again. I don't know what's quite working or what's quite not working. Oh, it's not coming up automatically. Sometimes Carla's name comes up automatically. It didn't this time. So I've typed it without the capitals. But You'll just have to copy what everybody's doing. Everybody else is so much better than me at typing. So type at Carla Murray to tag her in the comment. Type I agree and only do it once, please, so that she can get your name from the live chat room and put your name on next week's Pick Roulette wheel. That will happen if you type that. Let me jump into the PayPal donations window while you guys are entering that, because we are going to be calling things to a close quite soon. So let me scroll up to the next one, because Karen donated £3.81. So thank you for that, Karen. And the message is, hi Phil, today I listened to an affirmations meditation for musicians from the Insight Timer app iPhone. What was said in this meditation resonated with me because I continue to be inspired by your journey of perseverance. Thanks for all you do and for being you. Cheers, Karen. So thank you for that, Karen, and it's good to hear that you have found an app that seems to be working well for you. And I mean, anything that you can do really that's going to help you, I mean, in this world that we live in that's just ridiculously stressful, I think anything that you can get, like an app to listen to just put on, to relax, to get yourself in a particular place where you can relax more, I think that's great. So thank you for that, Karen. And just scrolling up, because Carla has donated £6.08 and says, congrats on 261,000 subscribers. So thank you for that, Carla. And thank you, Carla, and everybody for subscribing and even getting the channel up to that point. It is a huge number, but it's great. We'll see where we end up. Maria has donated £1.53. Thank you for that. And the message is, I survived another birthday. Thanks for all the nice messages. Spike the likes. So good news. Great to hear that you've survived another birthday, Maria. And I mean, age is just a number, so we don't really take too much care of that on the live streams, other than wishing each other happy birthdays. I think that's always good to do, but the numbers don't really matter. Thank you for that, Maria. Sue has donated £15 as well. Thank you for that, Sue, and that is a straight up donation. And just scrolling up, because Lynette has donated £19.07. So thank you for that, Lynette. And the message is, Phil, your channel brightens any day. So thank you for that. And I think it was raining here in the UK, and it's not really warm, but yeah, it's not too bad at the moment. And yeah, we have had a few warm days recently, but we don't really have to, interestingly, we don't have to brighten the day here, because it sometimes rains but is bright sunshine at the same time. But that's what you get in England, totally random with the weather. William has donated £15.25, and thank you for that, William. That is a straight up donation. And Alison has donated £10. Thank you for that, Alison. The message is, hello Phil, thanks for all of the great info that you share with us in your analysis videos and on the live streams about songwriting and live performance. Regarding monitors, what type of in-ear monitors do you prefer in your performances? Best. So thank you for that, Alison. And I use my wireless in-ear monitors, and I've actually taken the plugs, or the earplugs that I normally use, or I used to use, that I had in my ears before I used to have in-ear monitoring. I took those, and it's kind of a fanned design, so it's got 3 layers to it. I'm not really sure, you know, what to call it, but I've taken those ends and put them on my in-ear monitoring system, and my in-ear monitoring system is made by Shure. So just in case you wanted to know that. I can't remember the model name, but it is relatively entry level, between £300 and £400 I think I paid for it, so that's what I use. But you know, as long as it works, you know, that's all I look for, and haven't needed to replace it yet, so fingers crossed. I mean, I might in the future upgrade it. It just depends. I mean, I think if it works and it does the job, then I'm not too bothered about, you know, getting a more up-to-date model, because I mean, as long as it's got an XLR in and an XLR out, then it's pretty much okay. But yeah, sometimes you buy something that's more advanced, and then you have more problems with it, or you don't quite get the same sound. It's always good to know exactly how something works and know the sound you're going to get from it before you do. Sometimes when you're playing live, you might get something that happens and it puts you off your performance because you're not used to whatever you're using. So yeah, I think it's very good to stick with what you know. Thank you for that, Alison. And we have Susan in the house who has donated £75. Thank you for that. And I'm just going to scroll down because we'll see in that live chat room. I'm just trying to see if we can see the username, and it's JC's Radiant Ray that I'm looking for in the live chat room. But thank you for this. Susan, just make sure I don't smack the microphone. The message is, Phil, you deserve all the success that is coming to you. I am excited by your upcoming interview of Steve Stevens. He is the biggest reason that I bought my Roland V5 Stratocaster. I am just getting started. Though I will never be as good as the guys in the band, it is good for my soul. Thanks, Phil, for all you do for all of us, with a smiley face. So thank you for that message, the kind words, and yeah, very kind donation as well. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to chatting with Steve as well. And I mean, Steve is one of those guys that, you know, even though he's in a huge band and, you know, touring, playing arenas, he's just such a nice guy. And I started talking to him last year, so it's been quite a long time before he's actually managed to, or I've managed to organise something with him. But I mean, when I said, you know, do you want to pop on the channel anytime, you know, I mentioned about this month being, you know, a month that I could do something, and he said, oh yeah, he actually said I'd be honoured to be on the channel. I thought, yeah, you know, that's amazing to hear from a guy like Steve, but it also shows his personality and how humble he is, and just that he's such a nice guy, even though I'm sure people, you know, see him on stage and he's like, you know, this guitar god and idol, and so many, you know, huge Billy Idol fans would just, you know, worship him and his playing. But when you actually chat to him, he's just such a nice guy, such a genuine guy. And the fact that he's, you know, quite happy to respond to my messages and say, you know, yeah, let's do something on Wednesday. And yeah, it's going to be great to have a chat with him. But just to jump into his guitar technique, just pick his brains about it as well, because like I've said on this live stream, he's one of those guys that kind of breaks the mold for a typical kind of rock and blues guitarist. He's got so much other technique going on that you normally don't find in those genres, in rock and blues. So yeah, anyway, thank you for that, Susan. Massively appreciated for the donation, as they all are tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I think we are up to date now. Again, huge shout out to the moderators for doing such a fantastic job during these live streams when we have these, you know, bots that come along and just keep posting the same comments, which can be a bit of a pain. But thank you guys for doing such a great job. I'm going to be doing another video tomorrow night, so look out for that, an analysis video. We're doing another live stream, of course, on Tuesday night, and that's 12 midnight Greenwich Mean Time. I'll keep you guys in the loop over on patreon.com/Wings of Pegasus about the Chris Lipe collaboration video, how the editing is going with that, and then the Steve Stevens video, and then the Moises app video, which will be coming up later in the month. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight. It has flown by and we've run over time, but thank you for hitting the thumbs up and getting us to 432 likes, which is crazy, as are just the likes totals that we're aiming for, but we've managed to hit it again tonight. So thank you everyone for joining me. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I hope that you can stay safe and stay sane, which is what I'm starting to say at the end of these live streams in the crazy world that we live in. But have a great rest of the weekend. I hope that I'll see you tomorrow night in the analysis video. If I don't, I'll see you maybe live on Tuesday night. So have a great one, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!